Hey Knights! So I'm doing another Doctor Who Running Through the Stars Bad Wolf Chronicle segment of chapters. So I'm going to do chapter 9 and 10. Okay. So chapter 9, Dalek. Jessie yelped as the TARDIS jerked. What the? Okay, maybe not the dinosaur age, the doctor commented, working at the console. Hang on. She clung to one of the coral structures as the TARDIS kept jerking. The doctor kept trying to fix it. After a few moments, everything stilled. The doctor scratched his head, looking at the readings. Huh. He went for the doors. Jessie followed. So what is it? What's wrong? Don't know, the doctor replied, looking around what appeared to be a dark hallway. Some kind of signal drawing to the TARDIS off course. Huh, she repeated his words, getting a chuckle out of him as she looked around. Where are we? Earth, he replied. Utah, North America, about half a mile underground. Back home in the States, she said happily, then frowned. And when are we? 2019. Wow, she commented as he investigated what seemed to be a glass case. That's close. I'd be 27, she grinned. Kid Stark to finally let me into his alcohol cupboard. The doctor snorted, then flipped a light switch. Jessie looked around in surprise when she saw more cases. My God, she whispered. You landed us in an underground museum. An alien museum, he agreed, walking past cases. Someone's got a hobby. They must have spent a fortune on this. Chunks of meteorite, moon dust. That's the mellometer from the Roswell spaceship. Jessie leaned down next to one case and grimaced. Apparently stuffed Slovene arms are good for a collection, she told him, narrowing her eyes at it. Oh, look at you. Jessie turned, raising an eyebrow, when she saw him examining a case with what appeared to be a robot's head. What is that? An old friend of mine, he replied absently. Well, enemy. The stuff of nightmares reduced to an exhibit. Quite an exhibit. I'm getting old, he agreed. So is this where the signal's coming from? No, he nodded his head. It's stone dead. The signal's alive. Something's reaching out. Calling for help, then. The doctor reached out to touch the case, but when he did, alarms began blaring. Jessie, on instinct, drew the gun from her holster on her hip. Now, wait. Jessie, on instinct, drew the gun holstered on her hip now. First thing she did when she'd gotten back on board the TARDIS, she got her utility belt fully equipped and aimed at the oncoming guards. Well, she said slowly as even more poured in, if this guy's collecting aliens, that'll make you Exhibit A. Surprisingly, the guards didn't check her for any other weapons beside her gun, which was held in the hand of their escort, a woman named Diana Goddard. The doctor leaned down to whisper in her ear. Any chance you got a backup? She snorted loudly, and he grinned and continued walking. They made it to an office, and Jessie heard the end of a sentence. Must be to channel something. English, she thought. Aren't we in the States? I think maybe fuel. Two guys were standing over something, most likely alien. Neither of them she paid attention to, but she saw the doctor shoot the prettier one a look before adding something on his own. I really wouldn't hold it like that. Shut it, Goddard told him sharply. How about you? 'Cause he doesn't stop when he gets started, Jessie retorted. Goddard just glared at her. Really, though, that's wrong, the doctor insisted. Is it dangerous? Pretty boy asked worriedly. The doctor and Jessie shrugged. No, it just looks silly, he replied. He reached for the device, but froze when guns cocked all around him. And Jessie's hand grasped his arm protectively. They shoot, they'll go right through us, she whispered softly. Fantastic, he whispered back. The older man handed the object to the doctor. You just need to be... He stroked it slightly. Jessie smiled when she heard a note vibrate out of it. Delicate. Jessie poked her head over his shoulder. Can I... The doctor handed it to her, and she tentatively played a few other notes. It's a musical instrument, the older man realized. The doctor nodded as Jessie handed it back to him. And it's a long way from home. Here, let me. The doctor handed it back, and Jessie made a face as he tried. Harsher notes were brought out. I did say delicate, the doctor advised. It reacts to the smallest fingerprint. It needs precision. Jessie smiled as the man finally got the hang of it. Very good. Quite the expert. As are you. Jessie winced as he threw the instrument away without further ado. The doctor merely blinked. Who are you? I'm the doctor, he replied promptly. And who are you? Like you didn't know, the man scoffed. We're hidden away with all the most valuable collection of extraterrestrial artifacts in the world, and you just stumble in by mistake. Pretty much sums me up, the doctor admitted carefully. Jessie made a snort. The doctor admitted carefully, making Jessie snort. Yeah. Question is, how did you get in? 53 floors down with your little cat burglar accomplice. Jessie pointed to herself, raising an eyebrow. Quite a collector yourself. She's rather pretty. She's pretty. She knows how to use a gun, and she will bitch slap you if you keep calling her she, Jessie snapped, making the doctor chuckle. American, the man said, sounding surprised. This is Mr. Henry Van Statten. Pretty boy introduced them. Please tell me he's not this at home, Jessie said. Mr. Van Statten owns the internet. Jessie burst out laughing. No one owns the internet. And let's just keep the whole world thinking that way, Van Statten replied. Right, kids? I'm no kid. She's definitely no kid, the doctor agreed. So first off, give her back her gun before she slaps you, because if her team is anything to go by, you'll get hell. Jessie waved sweetly at everyone there before holding out her hand expectantly. Goddard looked at Van Statten worriedly, then handed Jessie's gun back to her. She cocked it expertly, flipped the safety, then pushed it into her holster. Right. Now, Van Statten, you're just about an expert in everything except things in your museum. Anything you don't understand, you lock up. And you claim greater knowledge? Van Statten asked. I don't need to make claims, the doctor retorted. I know how good I am. And yet I captured you, right next to the cage. What were you doing down there? Signal? Jessie asked the doctor. The doctor winked at her, then turned to Van Statten expressionless. You tell me. The cage contains my one living specimen. And what's that? Like you don't know, Van Statten scuffed. Show me, the doctor replied. You want to do it? Testosterone scent rising, Jessie said in a mimic close to the computer from Platform 1, making the doctor smirk. Testosterone scent rising. Goddard, inform the cage we're heading down, Van Statten ordered, standing. You, English, look after the girl. Jessie gasped when the doctor's arm came out and snagged around her before Pretty Boy even moved. She stays with me, he said lowly. You're lucky I'm even letting you come, Van Statten replied, leaning forward. She can't. Está bien, she whispered to him as the doctor tensed to argue. Continua. It's all right. You go on. He shot her a look. Casete pero en Downing Street, he replied back, and she didn't miss the confused looks. No te perderé otra vez. I almost lost you at Downing Street. I'm not going to lose you again. No me perderás, she assured him, squeezing his hand. Ve. Don't you go. You won't go. She stared at her for a second, then gestured to the pretty boy. He swallowed and walked over. The doctor whispered something in his ear. Whatever it was, it made Pretty Boy start nodding vigorously, and the doctor finally nodded to Van Statten. Let's go. The doctor was definitely not happy. On the upside, he knew Jessie had a good knowledge of Spanish. Leaving her with Pretty Boy, who he learned from Goddard was named Adam Mitchell, did not boost his mood up. Although, if she knew that much in Spanish... We've tried everything, Van Statten was saying, snapping the doctor out of his thoughts. No more Spanish thoughts. The creature has shielded itself, but there's definitely signs of life inside. Inside, the doctor repeated. Inside what? Welcome back, sir. The doctor looked at the man who'd spoken as he looked up from a monitor. I've had to take the power down. The Metaltron is rusting. The doctor blinked. Metaltron? Even Fitzsimmons could have come up with a better name than that. Thought of it myself, Van Statten replied proudly, and the doctor rolled his eyes when the man wasn't looking. Good, isn't it? Although I'd much prefer to find out its real name. Here, you better put these on. The doctor accepted the gauntlets in confusion. The last guy that touched it burst into flames. I won't touch it then, he commented, but he put the gauntlets on anyway. Go ahead, doctor, Van Statten told the doctor. Impress me. The doctor had the urge to roll his eyes yet again, but he stepped into the cage. He didn't react when the door shut and locked behind him. He looked around in the dark. Look, I'm sorry about this, he said to the alien, wherever it was. Mr. Van Statten thinks he's clever. But never mind him. I'm the doctor. I've come to help. He turned, startled when he saw white lights blinking next to a blue glow. Doctor. His blood ran cold as he recognized that voice from a war long ago. Impossible, he breathed. The doctor. When the lights came on to reveal one of his worst, if not the worst, enemy, the doctor knew he was in trouble. Exterminate, the Dalek began shouting. Exterminate! Let me out, the doctor shouted, banging on the cage door. You are an enemy of the Daleks. You must be destroyed. The doctor turned to look at it, then stopped when he saw its gun wouldn't work. It's not working, he said out loud, just to make sure. When nothing else happened, he began laughing, mainly in relief. Fantastic! Oh, fantastic! Powerless! He told it as he approached. The great space dustbin. How does it feel? Keep back, the Dalek warned. The doctor leaned down, so they were eye-to-eye stock. What for? He asked bluntly. What are you going to do to me? If you can't kill, then what good are you? Then what are you good for, Dalek? What's the point of you? You're nothing. What the hell are you here for? I am waiting for orders. What does that mean? The doctor asked, beginning to wonder if the Dalek even knew what happened during the Time War. I am a soldier. I was bred to receive orders. It didn't know. It honestly didn't know. Well, you're never going to get any, he managed to say. Not ever. I demand orders. They're never going to come, the doctor swallowed, memories of the Time War spinning through his head. Your race is dead. You all burned. All of you. 10 million ships on fire. The entire Dalek race wiped out in 1 second. You lie. I watched it happen, he swallowed. I made it happen. You destroyed us? I had no choice. And what of the Time Lords? Dead, the doctor replied shortly. They burned with you. The end of the last great Time Lord. Everyone lost. And the coward survived. Oh, and I caught your little signal. Help me, the doctor told it hotly. Poor little thing, but there's no one else coming, 'cause there's no one else left. There's me, Jesse's voice in memory came back into his head. I am alone in the universe, the Dalek seemed to realize. Yep, the doctor confirmed. So are you. We are the same. We are not the same, the doctor snapped, turning to go. But he stopped. No, wait. He turned back, his anger brimming almost over. Maybe we are. You're right. Yeah. Okay. You've got a point. 'Cause I know what to do. I know what should happen. I know what you deserve. He stormed over to the console nearby. Exterminate. He pulled one of the levers, and the Dalek lit up with electricity. Have pity, it cried at him. Why should I? The doctor demanded. You never did. Help me. The doctor made to amp the electricity up, but the door to the cage opened, and guards formed, grabbing him. Van Statten marched up to the Dalek as the controller walked to the console. I saved your life, Van Statten shouted at the Dalek. Now talk to me. God damn it, talk to me. You've got to destroy it, the doctor shouted. The last in the universe, Van Statten said as he looked at the Dalek, the controller turning off the electricity. And now I know your name. Dalek. Speak to me, Dalek. I am Henry Van Statten. Now recognize me. He growled when nothing happened, turning to the controller. Make it talk again, Simmons, whatever it takes. Simmons, now I need to find the Fizzy Boy and re-get the science team from S.H.I.E.L.D. The doctor thought as he was dragged out. What did I get us into? Sorry about the mess, Adam told Jessie as she looked around his shop. Mr. Van Statten sort of lets me do my own thing, so long as I deliver the goods. She started when he handed her a big, thick piece of metal. What do you think that is? A lump of metal, she deadpanned, handing it back. Yeah, Adam agreed before putting on a look Jessie called a trying to be impressive face. Yeah, but I think, well, I'm almost certain, it's from the hull of the spacecraft. The thing is, it's all true. No shit, Sherlock, she thought as she snorted. Everything. The United Nations tries to keep quiet. Spacecrafts, aliens, visitors on Earth, they really exist. That's amazing, Jessie said in shock, enthusiasm, putting her chin in her hands. I know, it sounds incredible, but I honestly believe the whole universe is just teeming with life. I'm gobsmacked, yeah, Jessie snorted, waving a hand. And what do? Just sit here and catalog it? Best job in the world. Jessie decided to play along and see where she got. Imagine if you could get out there, travel among the stars, and see it for real. Yeah, I'd give anything. Adam agreed. I don't think it's ever going to happen. Not in our lifetimes. Oh, you never know. She shifted her position. What about all those people who say they've been inside of spaceships and things and talk to aliens? I think they're nutters. Jessie couldn't help but laugh at that. How'd you end up here? Van Statten has agents all over the world looking for geniuses to recruit. So does S.H.I.E.L.D., and you never popped up once. Oh, right, she said sarcastically. You're a genius. Sorry, but yeah. Jessie did a facepalm as he began bragging. I can't help it. I was born clever. When I was 8, I logged on to the U.S. defense system. Nearly caused World War III. And you think that's funny? Jessie demanded, standing up straight to glare at him. Well, you should have been there just to see them running about, Adam replied. Fantastic. Jessie grimaced. You sound like the doctor now. He eyed her with interest. Are you and him? Jessie shook her head quickly. No, we're just friends. Good, he said with satisfaction. She eyed him warily, standing up and brushing her hand against her leg, where she checked to make sure she still had one of her knives strapped there. Why is that good? It just is, he replied. She didn't like the look in his eyes one bit. Wouldn't you rather be downstairs, she asked quickly, changing the subject before he could talk again. You've got these bits and metals and stuff, but Mr. Van Statten's got a living creature down there. Yeah, Adam admitted. Yeah, well, I did ask, but he keeps it to himself. Although, if you're a genius, it doesn't take long to patch through the comm systems. She made a helpless gesture. Then what are you waiting for? Adam went to his computer and began typing. It doesn't do much, the alien. It's weird. It's kind of useless. It's just like this great big pepper pot. Jessie's eyes widened when she took in the screaming alien as the workers took a big drill to its metal casing. It's being tortured. She looked around the room where the alien was. Where's the doctor? I don't know. She grabbed his arm. Get me down there, now. The metal's just battle armor, the doctor tried to explain as they got into the lift. The real Dalek creature's inside. What does it look like? Van Statten asked in interest. A nightmare, he replied darkly as the time war kept running through his head. It's a mutation. The Dalek race was genetically engineered. Every single emotion was removed except hate. Genetically engineered? By whom? By a genius, Van Statten. By a man who's king of his own little world. He looked at him pointedly. You'd like him. I've been on Earth for over 50 years, Goddard told him. Sold at a private auction, moving from one collection to another. Why would it be a threat now? Because I'm here, the doctor replied simply. How did it get to Earth? Does anyone know? The records say it comes from the sky like a meteorite, she reported. It fell to Earth on the Ascension Islands, burned in its crater for 3 days before anybody could get near it. And all that time, it was screaming. It must have gone insane. It must have fallen through time, the doctor decided, smiling. The only survivor. You talked about a war. The doctor nodded, seeing the Daleks firing and hearing shouts of exterminate. The Time War, the final battle between my people and the Dalek race. But you survived too, Van Statten told him. Not by choice. This means that the Dalek isn't the only alien on Earth anymore. The doctor slowly stiffened as Van Statten turned to face him. Doctor, there's you. The only one of your kind in existence. That was pretty much how he found himself, spread eagle in a cage of his own. Now smile, Van Statten told him. The doctor bit down a yell as the laser scanned down his body, knowing what the man would find. 2 hearts, Van Statten exclaimed as the doctor winced in pain. Binary vascular system. Oh, I am so going to patent this. So that's your secret, he bit out. You don't just collect this stuff, you scavenge it. This technology has been falling to Earth for centuries, Van Statten replied. All it took was the right mind to use it properly. Oh, the advances I've made from alien junk. You have no idea, Doctor. Broadband? Roswell. Just last year, my scientists cultivated bacteria from the Russian crater, and do you know what we found? The cure for the common cold, he shrugged. Keep it strictly within the laboratory, of course. No need to get people excited. Why sell one cure when I can sell 1,000 palliatives? The doctor shook his head, trying to clear out the pain. That just made it worse. Do you know what a Dalek is, Van Statten? A Dalek is honest. It does what it's born to do for the survival of its species. The creature in your dungeon is better than you. In that case, I will be true to myself and continue. Stupid apes, the doctor thought angrily. Listen to me. That thing downstairs is going to kill every last one of us. Nothing can escape the cage, Van Statten denied, blasting him with the laser again. He grunted with the pain. But it's woken up. It knows I'm here. It's going to get out. Van Statten, I swear, no one in this base is safe. No one on this planet. That earned him yet another laser, and he couldn't contain the scream of pain this time. Jessie followed Adam, unzipping the jacket she wore over a catsuit and tossing it onto a chair as they approached the cage. Hold it right there, one of the guards told them. Adam held up an ID. Level 3 access, special clearance from Van Statten. The guard nodded, sparing a look at Jessie in confusion. Excuse me, ma'am, but what are you wearing? You're complaining about my uniform? Jessie snapped. Get out of our way. He gulped and nodded, hurrying hurriedly before opening the door. Don't get too close, Adam advised her as they went in. Jessie slowly approached the Dalek, tilting her head as she examined it. Hello, she told it softly. Are you in pain? My name's Jessie Nightshade. I've got a friend. He can help. He's called the Doctor. What's your name? Yes. She blinked. What? I am in pain, it replied, and she nodded slowly. They torture me, but still they fear me. Do you fear me? Without the Doctor here, she had no idea what this alien was. Currently. No. I am dying. No, Jessie told it firmly. We can help. I welcome death, but I am glad that before I die, I have met a human who is not afraid. Is there anything I can do? Jessie whispered. My race is dead, and I shall die alone. Jessie swallowed and reached for the Dalek's head. Jessie, no! Adam shouted at her. Jessie touched the Dalek's head and gasped when a burning spread through her arm. She quickly brought it up, seeing a golden handprint where she had just touched it, and it faded. The Dalek lit up, becoming animated. Oh my God, she whispered. Genetic material extrapolated. Innate cellular reconstruction. No, Jessie shouted as Adam grabbed her arm and pulled her away. The Dalek's chains broke, and the technician burst in with a drill. What the hell have you done? He shouted at her before turning to the Dalek, who raised its sink plunger. And what are you going to do? Sucker me to death? Jessie blanched when the Dalek did just that. It's killing him, she screamed to the guards as they made it outside. Do something. Condition red. Condition red. The Doctor looked up warily, breathing heavily as the announcement rang through the air. I repeat, this is not a drill. He could hear faint screaming in the background, some belonging to guards trying to defend the place, but among them he could hear Jessie. He looked at Van Statten with a glare fueled by his anger and his fear for Jessie's life. Release me if you want to live, he warned. He finally did something smart, the Doctor thought as they arrived in Van Statten's office. Van Statten typed something on his computer, and the cage scene pulled up. The Doctor was immensely relieved when he saw Jessie there, along with other guards. You've got to keep it in that cell, he told them. It's my fault, Jessie told him abruptly, shaking her head. I'm sorry. I've sealed the compartment, one of the guards added, sending her a look. It can't get out. That lock's got 1 billion combinations. A Dalek's a genius, the Doctor told him. It can calculate 1,000 billion combinations in 1 second flat. There was a second of the electronic beep, and Jessie spun from the camera, drawing her gun in his feet. The Doctor was impressed by. It's through. One of the other guards, obviously the leader, gave another call. Open fire! Don't shoot it, Van Statten blurted out, and the Doctor glared at the man. I want it unharmed. Plan B, then. Jessie, get out of there. Jessie really didn't want to, but she walked over to where the guards were talking. Maggio, the leader was saying, take the civilians and get them out alive. That is your job. Got that? She nodded and beckoned Adam and Jessie. You, with me. We're losing power, Gonard announced, and the Doctor turned to her as she began reading off of her screen. It's draining the base. A look crossed her face. Oh my God, it's draining the entire power supply for the whole of Utah. It's downloading, the Doctor told him. Downloading what? Van Statten demanded. Sir, the entire west coast has gone down, Gonard whispered. It's not just energy. The Dalek just absorbed the whole internet. It knows everything, the Doctor explained. The camera and the vault have gone down, Gonard added a few seconds later. We've only got emergency power. It's eaten everything else, the Doctor told Van Statten angrily. You've got to kill it now. Gonard raised a hand to her earpiece. All guards to converge in the Metaltron cage immediately. And enough with the Metaltron. He listened to the sound of guards chattering, then heard the sounds of gunfire and the Dalek's own gun. Van Statten looked up. Tell them to stop shooting at it. But it's killing them, Gonard disagreed. They're dispensable. That Dalek is unique. The Doctor and Gonard shared exasperated looks as Van Statten shouted into the calm. I don't want to scratch on its bodywork. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? The gunfire stopped, and the Doctor figured he knew the reason why. He sighed as Gonard pulled up a schematic of the base. That's us, right below the surface, she told them, pointing. That's the cage, and that's the Dalek. This museum of yours, the Doctor told Van Statten. Have you got any alien weapons? Lots of them, Gonard replied. The trouble is, the Dalek's between us and them. We've got to keep that thing alive, Van Statten told them, and the Doctor's annoyance level peaked. We could seal the entire vault, trap it down there. Leaving everyone trapped with it, the Doctor snapped at him, swallowing. Jessie's down there. I wouldn't let that happen. Have you got that? He didn't wait for an answer, as he pointed to the schematics. It's got to go through this area. What's that? Weapons testing, Gonard supplied. Give the guns to the technicians, the lawyers, everyone, he ordered. Only then have you got a chance of killing it. There were times that Jessie loved to take the stairs. This was one of those times, as they made it to the stairwell. Stairs, she cried. That's more like it. It hasn't got legs. It's stuck. DiMaggio looked behind them and urged them on. It's coming. Get up. Jessie led the way up the first flight, occasionally throwing looks down at the Dalek. Great big alien death machine defeated by a flight of stairs, Adam taunted. DiMaggio aimed her gun at the Dalek when it came into view. Now listen to me, she ordered. I demand that you return to your cage. If you want to negotiate, then I can guarantee that Mr. Van Staten will be willing to talk. I accept that we imprison you, and maybe that was wrong, but people have died, and that stops right now. The killing stops. Have you got that? I demand that you surrender. Is that clear? Elevate. Jessie's eyes widened as the doctor began to hover and began to glide up the stairs. Oh my God. Adam, get her out of there, DiMaggio ordered. Come with us, Jessie told her, even when Adam began to drag her up. You can't stop it. Someone's got to try, DiMaggio replied. Now get out. Don't look back. Just run. They did, and Jessie closed her eyes when she heard DiMaggio's dying scream behind them. I thought you were the great expert, Doctor. If you're so impressive, then why not just reason with this Dalek? The doctor was at this point ready to throw the man against the wall. It must be willing to negotiate. There must be something it needs. Everything needs something. What's the nearest town? Salt Lake City, he replied immediately. Population? 1 million. The doctor shook his head. All dead. If the Dalek gets out and it's murdered... If the Dalek gets out, it'll murder every living creature. That's all it needs. But why would it do that? Because it honestly believes they should die. Human beings are different, and anything different is wrong. It's the ultimate in racial cleansing, and you, Van Staten, he replied, turning to the man, you've let it loose. The Dalek's surrounded by a force field. The bullets are melting before they even hit home. But it's not indestructible. He activated the comms he had in his own ear. If you concentrate your fire, you might get through. Aim for the dome, then head the eyepiece, he told the guards. That's the weak spot. Thank you, Doctor, but I think I know how to fight one simple tin robot. Positions. The doctor sighed, hearing calls of reply. Come on, Jessie, he whispered. Come on, get out of there. Jessie ran fast, her legs pumping as she struggled to keep up with Adam. She might have been fast, but he was too. A guard jumped up from where he was behind a crate. Hold your fire, he called, and Jessie skidded to halt as other men were visible, guns aimed at them. You two, get the hell out of here. Working on it, she spat back as she kept running. And they did. She realized something and faltered when they made it outside. It was looking at me, she said slowly. Yeah, Adam replied. It wants to slaughter us. But it was looking right at me, she told him. So, it's just a sort of metal eye thing. It's looking all around. It was looking right at me, she shouted at him as they kept moving. Like, she paused, realizing what she was thinking. Oh my God, like it knows me. The doctor shook his head as he heard the dying cries of the men. Perhaps it's time for a new strategy, Van Staten suggested. Maybe we should consider abandoning this place. Except there's no power to the helipad, sir, Conrad pointed out. We can't get out. The doctor remembered something, turning to them. You said we could seal the vault? Van Staten nodded in confirmation. It was designed to be a bunker in the event of a nuclear war. Bulkheads made of vibranium and steel. There's not enough power, Conrad said. These bulkheads are massive. We've got emergency power, the doctor reminded her. We can reroute that to the bulkhead doors. We'd have to bypass the security codes, Goddard told him. That would take a computer genius. Good thing you've got me then, Van Staten told her. The doctor blinked when was the man finally seeing the light? You want to help? I don't want to die, Doctor, Van Staten retorted. Simple as that. No one knows this software better than me. Sir? The doctor looked at Goddard, then turned to the TV screen as the Dalek returned to the ground. I shall speak only to the doctor, it announced. You're going to get rusty, he pointed out in reply. I fed off the DNA of Jessie Nightshade. Exploiting the biomass of a time traveler in an Asgardian regenerated me. The doctor felt like facepalming. Of course, Asgardian regenerative powers. What's your next trick, he asked. I have been searching for the Daleks. Yeah, I saw, downloading the internet. What did you find? I scanned your satellites and radio telescopes. And, the doctor prompted. Nothing. Where shall I get my orders now? You're just a soldier without commands. Then I shall follow the primary order. The Dalek instinct to destroy, to conquer. What for? The doctor asked. What's the point? Don't you see it's all gone? Everything you were, everything you stood for. Then what should I do? The doctor had an idea, but he doubted it would work. All right, then. If you want orders, then follow this one. Kill yourself. The Daleks must survive, it protested. The Daleks have failed, the doctor countered. Why don't you finish the job and make the Daleks extinct? Rid the universe of your filth. Why don't you just die? It paused. You would make a good Dalek. The doctor sighed as the screen went blank. Steal the vault, he decided. Van Statten began working. I can leech power off the ground defenses, feed it into the bulkheads. God, it's been years since I had to work this fast. Are you enjoying this? The doctor couldn't help but ask. Doctor? He looked up at Goddard, feeling his heart race as she looked at him in worry. She's still down there. Jessie was still running behind Adam when her phone rang. God, she growled as she pulled it out and answered. This had better be good, because this isn't the best time. Where are you? The doctor demanded. Jessie looked at the walls as they passed by. Level 49. You've got to keep moving. The vault's being sealed off. The vault's being sealed off up at level 46. She stumbled but kept going. Adam really was too fast. I need to find a track back on the TARDIS, she noted. Can't you stop them from closing? I'm the one who's closing them. I can't wait, and I can't help you. Jessie swallowed. Now for God's sake, run. Jessie added a burst of speed. As if sensing her urgency, Adam picked up his pace as well. Done it, Van Statten announced. We've got power to the bulkheads. The Daleks right behind them, Goddard added tightly. We're nearly there, Jessie told him. Give us 2 seconds. Doctor, I can't sustain the power, Van Statten told him. The whole system is failing. Doctor, you've got to close the bulkheads. The doctor closed his eyes. I'm sorry, he apologized, then hit the enter key. Jessie looked up at the doors ahead as the bulkhead began closing. Come on, Adam shouted to her as he rolled under it. Jessie braced herself to phase through, but she crashed right into it. She yelped, falling to the floor startled. The bulkhead crashed down in front of her, and she stood, trying to phase her hand through. She began to panic. What was going on? And with a sinking feeling, she realized what the problem was. The vault is sealed, Van Statten announced through her phone. Jessie, where are you? The doctor asked worriedly. Jess, did you make it? Jessie panicked, leaning her forehead on the door. Vibranium, she said. The one thing, so far, I can't phase through. I can't get through. She turned as the Dalek rounded the corner. Doctor, no matter how much Selene will probably blame you, it wasn't your fault. Remember that, got it? It wasn't your fault. She fully faced it. And you know what? I wouldn't have missed this for the world. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath, ready to meet her end. Exterminate. The doctor heard the zap on the end of the line and swallowed, reaching up and taking the comm from his ear. I killed her, he said blankly. I'm sorry, Van Statten apologized. The doctor rounded on him, anger boiling over. I said I'd protect her. She's only here because of me, and you're sorry? I could have killed that Dalek in its cell, but you stopped me. It was the prize of my collection. The doctor growled, beginning to pace, trying to walk off his fury. It wasn't working. Your collection? He spat. But was it worth it? Worth all those men's death? Worth Jessie? Let me tell you something, Van Statten. Mankind goes into space to explore, to be part of something greater. Exactly. I wanted to touch the stars. The doctor turned to Van Statten, slamming his hand down on the table. You just wanted to drag the stars down and stick them underground, underneath tons of sand and dirt, and label them, he growled. You're about as far from the stars as you can get, and you took her down with you. He swallowed again. She was 20 years old, and you just got her killed. It hadn't killed her yet. Go on, then, Jessie challenged it. Kill me. Why are you doing this? I am armed, the Dalek told her. I will kill. It is my purpose. They are all dead because of you. They are dead because of us. Her DNA, her fault. Everything was her fault. She swallowed. And now what? She asked, her voice cracking a little at the end. What are you waiting for? I feel your fear. What do you expect? Daleks do not fear, must not fear. Jessie squeaked, dodging energy blasts as the Dalek shot on either side of her. You gave me life. What else have you given me? I am contaminated. Don't kill anyone else, Jessie told it desperately. Just kill me. Why are you still alive? The doctor asked desperately. Why? My function is to kill. What am I? What am I? Jessie shakily stood from where she had slid down the bulkhead, cautiously approaching. Maybe you don't have to do this anymore, she suggested. There has to be something else, not just killing. What else is there? What do you want? There was silence from the Dalek, then. I want freedom. Adam was the next one to get the doctor's wrath when he ran into the office. You were quick on your feet, leaving Jessie behind. I'm not the one who sealed the vault, Adam retorted. I told you to make sure she wasn't hurt, the doctor snapped at him, and now that dog's got her. What do we do when it gets here? Van Staten asked. Kill it, Adam suggested. Goddard shook her head. All the guns are useless, and all the alien weapons are in the vault, where the Dalek currently is. Only the catalogued ones, Adam corrected. Broken, the doctor muttered as he dug through Adam's stuff. Broken. He picked up something else, then made a face. Hairdryer. He threw it off to the side. Mr. Van Staten tends to dispose of his stuff, and when he does, he wipes their memory, Adam was saying as he kept trying to find a weapon. I keep this stuff in case I need to fight my way out one day. The doctor snorted, looking up. What, you? In a fight? I'd like to see that. I could do. Jessie could do, and she was an agent especially trained to survive, the doctor snapped. Also half Asgardian. Look at where that got her now, he swallowed, shaking his head as her words rang in her head. Vibranium, the one thing so far that I can't phase through. I can't get through. What would you do? Throw your A-levels at him? He pulled out a gun that he could use, nodding. Oh yes, he cocked it. Lock and load. Jessie found that her powers over the air still worked hundreds of miles underground. She raised herself and the Dalek through the floors, heading towards the top. At the top level, she stopped them. The Dalek raised its gun and blasted a hole through the roof, and sunlight began streaking down to its eyepiece. You're out, she praised it. You made it. She smiled, setting her head up. I never thought I'd feel the sunlight again. How does it feel? The Dalek asked. Part of its middle opened up, and Jessie's eyes widened at the one-eyed mutant inside as it stretched out a tendril to feel the sunlight. Why do I survive? I don't know, Jessie admitted, squatting so she could look at it in the eye. I am the last of the Dalek. I feel so many ideas, so much darkness. Jessie, give me an order. Order me to die. I can't do that, she protested, standing. This is not life. This is sickness. I shall not be like you. Your DNA has changed me. Order my destruction. Obey, obey, obey. Jessie swallowed, accepting what she had to do. All right, do it. Are you frightened, Jessie Nightshade, Deathbringer of Asgard? Jessie nodded, wondering how it knew that name. Yeah. So am I. The Dalek began to elevate, shutting its eye as its armor closed. Exterminate. Jessie watched as it imploded with the force field around it, then winced as she checked her hands, seeing the burns on them. She ran back down the hallway, the events of the whole day catching up with her. Hey, you there. She turned and held up her hands, showing she wasn't armed, as the guards ran up to her. Hey, she whispered breathlessly. Are you okay? And with that, Jessie finally let the tears burning in her eyes begin to fall. No, she choked out. As the doctor and Adam ran through the halls, they came across a group of armed guards heading for them. Gunnar behind them smugly. Van Staten being dragged away. Gunnar joined them, a pleasing look on her face. By tonight, Henry Van Staten will be a homeless, brainless junkie living on the streets of San Diego, Seattle, Sacramento. She shrugged. Some place beginning with S. One of the guards stopped, listening to his earpiece. Thanks, he said into it, then turned to Goddard. Ma'am, one of the patrols found a rather distraught young woman upstairs at level 1 with burns on her hands. They found her where the Dalek signal was lost. The doctor stopped. Lost? He asked incredulously, swallowing. It can't be. What does she look like? Goddard asked. The guard listened, then looked at her. Dark hair, dark eyes, freckles. Wearing a catsuit? The doctor asked, and Adam hitched a breath, realizing what he did at the same time. Logo looks like an eagle. The guard repeated the description, then nodded in confirmation. Spot on. Level 1? Yes. The doctor was off running with Goddard and Adam before he even finished the sentence. Thanks, Jessie whispered as one of the guards wrapped her hand in gauze, covering the burns. He nodded. Those are some bad burns, ma'am. I'm surprised you're not crying worse than you are. Jessie used her knuckles to rub the tears from her cheeks. It's not because of the pain. Why is it, then? She swallowed. 'Cause they both looked up when they heard the voice of Diana Goddard demanding orders. The guard stood when she rounded the corner, stopping short. Her eyes widened when she saw Jessie. Ma'am, we found her. Jessie shot to her feet and ran across the floor, phasing through the guards in her way. The doctor caught her instantly, hugging her tightly as she began to sob. Shh, he whispered in her ear before whispering in Spanish. Está bien, le tengo. It's all right, I've got you. She sniffled and buried her face further into his jacket, hearing his double heartbeat. The Dalek... What happened, he asked, stiffening and looking down at her. It ordered me to tell it to destroy itself. The doctor didn't say anything before looking at her hands. What happened, he repeated. Touched it once, touched it again getting up here, she replied, voice muffled by his jacket. Doctor, all it wanted was to see the sun. He nodded, then looked at Goddard. I'm taking her back to the TARDIS. Get her helped. Thank you for everything. She nodded. I'll let you know when we're going. The doctor led Jessie into the infirmary, guiding her to one of the beds. You're sure you're okay? She nodded, licking her lips. Yeah, it's just that I ordered something to kill itself. I've never done that before. He looked over at her, seeing her staring blankly down at the floor. You've never done that before? She shook her head. No, I've given orders, but never to kill itself. He sat down across from her, taking one of her hands and slowly unwrapping the bandages. Daleks don't like difference. He tried to explain to her. It was different because it absorbed your DNA. Don't blame yourself for that. Jessie sighed as he ran his sonic screwdriver up her burns. I know, but it's still just... She struggled to find the right words. Not normal, the doctor suggested, moving her other hand. She snorted. Yeah, put it that way. She stood in the doorway of the TARDIS as the doctor checked her over. A little piece of home, he said. Better than nothing. So, is that? She asked, stepping out next to him. This the end of the Time War? I'm the only one left, the doctor confirmed before blinking. Huh. I win, he looked at her. How about that? The Daleks survived, she pointed out. Maybe some of your people did too. He was already shaking his head. I'd know in here. He tapped the side of his head. Jessie tilted her head curiously. Telepathy? In a way, all Time Lords are, and I can usually feel them. He looked around. Feels like there's no one. Well, Jessie said, leaning against the doorframe of the TARDIS and giving him a grin. Good thing you're stuck with me then. He smiled back at her. Yeah. The sound of running caught their attention, and Jessie silently cursed as Adam ran up. We'd better get out, he told them. Now that Van Stanton's disappeared, they're closing down the base. Goddard says they're going to fill it full of cement like it never existed. Good riddance, Jessie commented. I'll have to go back home. Better hurry up then, the doctor advised. Next flight to Heathrow leaves at 1500 hours. Jessie considered Adam for a moment, then sighed and reached out to stop the doctor when Adam turned to go. He said all his life he wanted to see the stars. He looked at her incredulously. Tell him to go and stand outside then. Crossed my mind. But he's all on his own, and he did help. He left you down there. So did you. What are you talking about? Adam asked. We got to leave. Plus, he's a bit pretty, the doctor added. Jessie looked at him in mock surprise. Do I detect jealousy there, my doctor? I hadn't noticed a thing. The doctor finally simply shrugged and unlocked the TARDIS. On your own head. Understood. What are you doing? Adam called, coming back. Yeah? Okay. What are you doing? Adam called, coming back. She said cement. She wasn't joking. We're going to get sealed in. Jessie followed the doctor inside and draped herself in the captain's chair, leaving the door open as the doctor stood by the console. They both grinned at each other, waiting to see if Adam joined them. He did, his voice coming closer. Doctor, what are you doing standing inside a box? Jessie? The moment Adam stepped into the TARDIS, the door closed, and the doctor stared up at her. Welcome aboard, Adam, he told him. Adam was staring around in shock. What is this? A police public call box that's huge on the inside, Jessie supplied, smiling. So, Adam, ready to see the stars? Chapter 10. Remember. The nightmares had started again. Jessie shot up in her bed that evening, gasping for breath, and feeling her heart race. She put her head in her hands, trying to calm herself down. Rick's face was still in her view, and so was Grant's when she had come clean about what exactly she'd been through. The Bifrost was glittering on its mural, and the lights in her room began to slowly turn on. She heard a concerned hum, and she looked up at the TARDIS ceiling in surprise. Are you trying to help? The air temperature cooled a little, and she smiled. Thanks, she whispered, slipping out of her bed and finding a robe. Can you show me the way to the kitchen? The TARDIS hummed in reply as Jessie opened the door. She saw lights leading in one direction, and she smiled wearily. Thank you, she said, patting one of the walls as she walked towards the kitchen. The doctor was shaken from a twisted recount of the day when the TARDIS thrilled wordly in his head. What is it? He asked. She dreams. His head shot up, nearly banging it on the console from where he was working. What? Nightmares. Ghosts of her past. It hurts her. Wake her up, the doctor suggested. She is. She's scared of the nightmares, but also of the boy. The doctor growled low in his throat. He still didn't understand why Jessie had asked him to come with them. Keep him away from her. His room is on the other side. He patted her console in thanks, standing and heading for the kitchen. She began making tea, looking up when she heard another footstep approaching. Jessie, looking completely worn out, rounded the corner. Want some? He asked, nodding to the kettle. She nodded worriedly, slumping at the table. Please. The doctor turned the heat on, then sat down next to her. Bad dream? Yeah, she replied, rolling her head. Just remembering a few things. What about? He asked. Jessie shrugged. Not exactly the fun moments in my life. She pinched the bridge of her nose. I'm surprised I'm not having nightmares over the Dalek. The doctor swallowed. Jess, about that. If I had known that was what it was, I would have left right away. Jessie looked at him. It's not a nice thing, is it? Nope, the doctor replied, popping the pea as the kettle whistled. He stood up to go get it when Jessie asked, Why did you two hate each other so much? The doctor froze for a moment before stiffly filling a few cups with tea. Jessie? Oh, now I know something's up, she interrupted, looking more awake than she had been in the last few moments. You never use my full name normally. Come on, why? The doctor still didn't answer as he brought their cups over. As he went to take a drink, she asked softly, Was it the Time War? The doctor practically choked on his tea, and a look of understanding crossed her face. So that's it. The Time War. The Time War, the doctor agreed, coughing a little bit more before regaining his breath. Between the Time Lords and the Daleks. Jessie nodded her understanding. Can you tell me where you're from now? Wasn't it something with a G? Gallifrey, he whispered in reply. She smiled encouragingly. It sounds beautiful. It had orange grass, he agreed, and chuckled at the bright look on her face. Oh, now you're awake. Not every day you hear about a planet with orange grass, she pointed out, grinning. It faded, though, when she thought of something. Wait a minute. Had? There was a war, and we lost. But the Dalek, it's still alive. If it was, surely Gallifrey's still... The doctor was shaking his head as Jessie tried to work everything out. No, he replied hoarsely. It burned at the end of the war. Gallifrey was destroyed, and I was the one to cause it. Jessie looked at him oddly. You did it to end the war, though. How many lives did you save in the process? He blinked. Billions. She held out her hands. Well, there you go. Everything you think you do, Doctor. Everything you're blaming yourself for? It's not just the way it affects you. She reached across the table for his hand, and the doctor didn't stop her from taking it. Others were saved that day on Gallifrey. No matter what happened, she smiled at him, and I'm not blaming you for anything. The doctor was getting more surprised by this violet and bronze demigod day after day when Jessie swirled her tea around before taking a gulp. One more question, though, she said, and the doctor raised an eyebrow. What now? On the TARDIS, when you were talking about UNIT, you said you were a different man then. He stiffened, and she raised an eyebrow coolly. What do you mean by that? You'll think I'm insane, he warned her, wondering if he seriously did want to tell her about what that meant. Would she run? She surprised him again when she snickered. Doctor, you're talking to an Asgardian that dealt with all kinds of supernatural activity. Try me. He raised an eyebrow back at her. Right then, Jessie Nightshade, I'll take you up on that. He stood, taking his cup of tea, and beckoned to her. Follow me. Frowning, she stood and took her cup with her. He noted that under her robe she was wearing shorts and a spaghetti strap top, the robe conveniently covering her arms, but he thought he saw a faint discoloring on her shoulders. He didn't comment, but merely held out a hand for her to take. She took it, and they kept walking through the TARDIS halls. The TARDIS hummed reassuringly in his mind. She will not run. How do you know that? The doctor asked telepathically. She is not a normal girl. The doctor found the door he was looking for and opened it, letting Jessie step inside. As soon as he did, the lights in the room came on, revealing 8 different holograms across the room. She spun slowly, looking around. Wow, she said, setting her cup down on a pedestal nearby. I get the feeling I should put this down for this. Different men, Jess, he told her, folding his arms and looking around, but still the same. He looked at her as her eyes scanned each face. Time Lords have this trick. When they die, their cells transform, completely changes them. Different personality, new look, new quirks. He made the air quotes, and she smirked a little. But still the same person at heart. He nodded around the room. These are my past selves, Jess. I was a different man when Unit first saw me. Jessie slowly walked around towards the closest pedestal, tilting her head slightly as she took in his first incarnation. She then looked at him, nodding at it. This one's your first? Yep, he replied, popping the P. I was really different way back. What the hell? He jumped a little as she skipped to the next two incarnations and went right to his fourth, leaning in close and pointing at the scarf. You seriously wore this? She burst out laughing. She just kept on surprising him. Yeah, he admitted, smirking. Ridiculously long, but that was one of the quirkiest. She giggled, looking at the next incarnation. And is that celery? The doctor nodded, leaning against the doorway. Uh-huh. She shook her head, looking at the next few. Wow, you had your share of quirks. She stopped in front of the incarnation just before his last, her gleeful face turning somber, and she looked at him before pointing to the hologram. This was the one from the war? He nodded, not saying a word as he walked over to join her. She looked back, tilting her head a little. You are in your 8th, she said slowly, before looking at him. This is your 9th. When he nodded, she got a scared look in her eyes. Is it like that quote, a cat gets 9 lives? No, the doctor assured her, chuckling a little at her sigh of relief. We get 12 regenerations. I've regenerated 8 times. And I get 4 more goes. And then what happens? The doctor looked at her. Then I die for good. Jessie let out a shaky breath. Well, better hope that doesn't happen any time soon. You're staying? Of course I am, she replied, taking his hand again. I'm not going anywhere, not any time soon. So then, Jessie Nightshade, he began, smiling at her. How long are you going to stay with me? She smiled back at him and stood on her toes to whisper in his ear. Forever. Okay, so that was chapter 9 and 10. Yeah, alrighty. Peace out, Knights.